Hello the Battlefield and non-Battlefield players. Welcome to BattlefieldOne Podcast, where we talk about Battlefield and only Battlefield. My name is Tom, aka the Lanky Soldier, and I'll be your host, might as well.
Yeah, host.
It is December, welcome to BattlefieldOne Podcast. My name is Tom, aka the Lanky Soldier, and I'm joined by Florida man himself, Ray.
Good afternoon, evening, whatever your time situation is when you're listening to this. Hope you guys are all having a lovely holiday season. Hope everybody's not as stressful as what ours is. As my lord, I sit here and record this with a freaking tropical storm that just went by. So if you occasionally hear some wind gusts or some rain, forgive me. It's Mother Nature.
I'm just recording with bubbles coming out of my mouth right now. Just saying. That's how stressed we are. Or annoyed.
Oh man, this has been an interesting last couple of months.
Yeah, but leave it for the Patreon.
There's a whole if you're not subscribed to the Patreon, you really ought to, because we're in pre-production. We were just sitting here like, man, we got a juicy rant coming. And like it's long overdue, and it's about AI, of course. So if you guys want to dig into that and see exactly what our opinions are on this insanity, and I mean, it's not like it's unheard of. I mean, I'm pretty sure some people are like, well, you guys are, yeah. But there's more to it, because things have evolved since we've last spoken our opinion of that. So again, if you're interested, head on over to the Patreon page, sign up. Just do it.
I recommend, because we actually do some amazing episodes there. We talk about interesting stuff, not only like Battlefield. We talk about gaming in general, everything that comes to our minds, and I think it's the best episodes we ever did.
Life, love, and the drama that is existence.
Patreon.com/TheLankySoldier. Check out. We have some amazing episodes. And before we continue with Battlefield discussion, we do have time codes, so check in the description wherever you listen to the podcast. Check your description and time codes. If you don't want to listen to the whole thing, just click on the time code and listen to the part you want. Because I understand that everyone has a whole hour to spare, so I get. So we're just here to help you out. And
hey, if you listen to everything from front to back, I mean, good props to you. Props to you. You deserve an award.
If you do leave us a rating on the Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to the podcast, because it does help out. And at one point, I remember when I was checking our rating on Spotify, it was like 3.5 or something like that. And as soon as I started telling people, leave us a rating, bad or good, it actually jumped up to like 4.3.
Nice.
Who the hell?
The algorithm requires engagement.
I wonder who the hell left really bad reviews for us.
I don't know. Hey, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. We've pissed off some people. I don't even know who, but I just know we've pissed off some people over the years.
Okay.
And it's like, I'm sure there's some motherfuckers out there that are, first 5 minutes here, some people, I forgot, YouTube doesn't like the dirty words anymore.
Oh, I'll tell you later, like after the podcast or the Patreon, because I got some funny fucking stories regarding that, about our podcasting, because I know some people listen and they tell me stuff, and I'm like, well, fuck you. It was fine. So I'll tell you in the Patreon or in the after we're done recording, so people can listen. It's quite something. But anyway, Battlefield. So
you know it, you love it. It's why you're here listening.
Yes, straight to the point. I'll be honest. I haven't played Battlefield for a couple of weeks now. Not because the season itself or the game itself is not interesting now, not fun right now, whatever. But I'll be honest, I was really occupied with Modern Warfare 3, with Fortnite OG season, then the new season, and now I'm preoccupied with Warzone. I'll be honest, I haven't played Battlefield that much. I haven't even played the finals. I haven't played any other games. Actually, speaking of the finals, if you want to know our thoughts about the finals or everything like that, do subscribe to Patreon. You'll hear some interesting conversation regarding that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll even admit that I haven't really had that much time in order to sink into the franchise here as of late, like as much as I used to. Mainly because 2042 likes to try and light my PC on fire. so I don't play it as much because I can't afford to have my computer go down. That's I can't afford to replace it right now, at least until my income tax returns come in. So there's a possibility I might get a new one come then, and then maybe I'll be able to sink a little more time in. But that having been said, it's like, and even if my computer were up to par, it also falls back onto another variable of I just don't have the time anymore. Like and I knew this was one thing that was going to be a problem when 2042 launched and I saw, like, the live service model that it's adopted. Like, I don't have the time for that shit anymore. I don't. I really don't. Like, I have a mobile game that I play that's live service, and that's a lot easier to just pick up, do, put down, and, go about my day than what it is, 2042, where I've got to sit and fire up my computer, I've got to kill a couple of processes and shit so that I have enough, CPU space in order to run the goddamn thing. I got to make sure my computer's freaking cleaned out of dust and everything so that it can actually cool itself. So I just don't sink as much time into it anymore. Like, maybe when an update pops up, I'll throw, like 2 or 3 hours into it. But, like, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I just don't. Not as interested as I was anymore because of what the franchise has become these days. I just don't look at it with the same glasses on that what I used to, like Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 3 and the good old days.
And look, like I said, like for example me, right? I've been dabbling between Call of Duty and Fortnite, and then there's Battlefield on the side. Like, which one I prefer to play more? Like, don't get me wrong, Battlefield 2042 is in a good spot right now. And speaking of good spot, Battlefield 2042 did got nominated for the BAFTA BAFTA awards. And BAFTA awards, I consider them quite prestigious comparing to the Game Awards. I don't know if you been.
Oh, you mean the advertising hour?
Yeah, like I can talk. I really want to talk about the Game Awards on the Patreon, but Game Awards itself, I don't find it prestigious whatsoever. So I would not care if Battlefield got nominated. Yeah, it's a nice spotlight, but at the end of the day, it's just like who cares?
Like, have you noticed there's been like a lot? Not that I want to like divert the subject for a split second, but there's been like a lot of quote unquote deaths of a lot of these like huge presentation shows and stuff, and like the gaming atmosphere and stuff, because like E3's done, that's gone, it's no more.
Yeah, that's officially done. Yeah,
it's done. So like that whole, I'll be honest, that whole circle jerk is dead now. And it probably should have been dead for a lot longer than what it has been, because like, let's be honest, nobody really wants to go to that shit anymore unless they're press. Like everything that you could see at E3, with the exception of getting hands-on demos, like the publishers are doing themselves now. EA has EA Play. EA was one of the bigger contributors to fucking E3, and everybody, and we even said it when E3 like when EA kind of walked out of E3, we're like, yeah, E3 is going to start going downhill soon, real quick. And lo and behold, like what, 6 years later, 7 years, no, 10 years later, almost dead.
I just realized EA was the first publisher to walk out of E3.
Yeah, and then they were like, we're going to make our own event. Screw you guys.
Yeah, EA Play was their first ever attempt. Like, you know what, screw this, we're doing this our own. Yeah, now you mentioned EA was the first one.
And and EA Play wasn't bad. Don't get me wrong. Like, the very first, like, even the very first year that they held it, it wasn't bad, even to physically go to it.
Minus the cringe, but that's
yeah, minus the cringe, but that's EA for you. Like, if they're not cringing, then we're all doomed.
But yeah, so basically, back on topic, Battlefield 2042 got nominated for Best Outgoing Game. So, live service is kicking in, and people recognize that Battlefield 2042 is in a good state right now. It's a respectable game, and it's a successful live service. EA did boost finally. I think I mentioned on the last episode of Battlefield 1 podcast that EA did finally mention Battlefield exists, and it actually doing really good numbers. And new seasons are coming, Season 7 was already officially announced. And there's a Christmas event happening right now where you can get some free rewards and everything, and there's more stuff incoming.
It's kind of funny that they finally went around and did all, like, most of the stuff that we kind of thought they needed to do to this game in order to kind of give it its legs and let it run and keep running. And we're just like, I don't have the time for it anymore.
Yeah,
that sucks too.
So from all the games we talked about, we talked, like, we always said since Battlefield 4 days, that Battlefield should be a live service game, right?
Yep.
That can last for years.
Yep.
And suddenly we getting this with a game we hated originally. Like, I don't hate it that much anymore. I still dislike it in certain aspects of the, of how the game is.
I hate some of the changes they made, some of the fundamentals. Like, that was what was my big turnoff. Now, what it is at its core, I respect it. I respect it for what it is. I respect it for what it's trying to accomplish now, because again, we said this back in premium days, that this is the type of model that this type of game really kind of needs. It makes it work better. You hold on to your progression a hell of a lot longer. Now, I know there's going to be some years that are going to sit out there and go, well, I'm still playing with all my Battlefield 4 stuff to this day. Yeah, on Operation Locker, 64-player hardcore, shut up, get out of here. Because those are really the only servers that are basically going these days on Battlefield 4. I mean, let's not kid ourselves here. 99% of the servers that are still running on BF4 to this day. I mean, and this is speaking from a U.S. player perspective, so it might just be a problem here. But I would think it's a bigger problem over in the EU, because I remember the days I used to go server hopping with Tom, and that's all we would ever fucking find some days. But anyway, it's not the full game. You can't realistically go to all of the maps and enjoy all of that older content. Whereas here with 2042, a lot of that stuff's constantly pulled in and out of rotation, and not by the player base, but by ripple effect. So they're kind of curating the content, and they're keeping older stuff going, and that's not a bad thing.
Not ripple effect. They have not. They haven't done anything.
They haven't officially changed yet.
They haven't done anything for the game.
Okay,
they're working on something
regardless.
else.
You guys.
Anyway,
DICE.
DICE. Yeah.
So they're curating it. They're keeping things going. Now, even when let's just say hypothetically, next year, EA comes out and says, well, we're pulling future support for it. We're just going to keep the curation going. We're going to keep the passes going. We're going to keep cycling the content that we have, and occasionally maybe they'll add something here and there in order to kind of spice things up. It could still go for another 6 or 7 years. I see that possibility. It's there, because you're going to have those people like me who are going to pick it up at either a reduced price, or they're going to jump back in significantly later because they finally got the hardware that they wanted in order to be able to run it, or the circumstances have clicked to allow a player in order to play. The game could still last for a substantial amount of time. I'm not going to lie and say that it's not. I mean, we'd be fooling ourselves. Even with as bad as Portal is, it could still hold some longevity to it, because again, the thing that keeps Battlefield servers going the longest is the fact that of the community-driven stuff. So it's there, but again, I can't help but see the irony of it, and the sad irony of it. It's it's gotten to a point where if I didn't know anything about this game and I had a rig and I picked this thing up, today, now having never touched it before, I would probably get sucked into it and be stuck with it. I'm not gonna lie. So kudos to the developers. Kudos where credit where credit's due. Good job. It took you a couple years to do it. We kind of figured that. Excuse me. I'm kind of Rick burping here. But yeah,
They got it in the end. It's in a good state, but it's fine that this game became the live service game we always wanted in a Battlefield game. From all the games, it became this particular game. But at the same time, yeah, it's a good live service game. But the reason I haven't played, like I already mentioned earlier, the reason I haven't played Battlefield for a couple of weeks now is because there's other live service games that are kind of more important to me at this point. So Warzone and Fortnite,
I'm still stuck on Fleet Commander. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not spending any money on it, but yeah, I mean,
I thought you were going to be done with that game.
No, I didn't. I just stopped spending money on it. Realistically speaking, I mean, they pissed me off that much where I'm not even buying the Battle Pass.
All that money you spent on the game could have fucking bought a new PC,
Yeah, not really. Maybe another card.
Hey, it's still an improvement.
Yeah, still. But still.
Okay, but jokes aside.
I mean...
Yeah, so, Battlefield 2042 got nominated for the BAFTA award for being best ongoing game, which is nice. And the player base did grow. A lot of people stayed when the game was on sale for $5 or something like that, or $9. I can't remember what was the sale. But a lot of people stayed.
I think it was $10, yeah.
Yeah. So people stayed. They're playing the game. And I know they had a sale on Battlefield 5. That also grew 200k players on Steam alone. So yeah, I mean, in a sense, Battlefield is in a good state right now, whether we agree or not. More seasons are coming, more content is coming, and the way they announced Season 7 was quite funny. They did like a Christmas video, oh, we wish you a Merry Christmas and holidays and stuff, and then they just and there's like 7 numbers, like number 7 is everywhere on the decorations, on the mug, in the background, basically as a low-key announcement for that Season 7 is indeed a thing. And I did say this like 4 or 5 months ago, I think, where, yeah, I had a feeling they're making new seasons. Otherwise, what's the point, right? And I'm glad they're sticking with that. And I don't think there will be a new Battlefield game announced next year, as in like in 6-7 months. I don't think there will be a new game next year. Maybe 2025, but even that I think is a bit pushing it. So I'm kind of glad we're not getting a Battlefield game next year. So that's a good thing.
No, because that would like completely just nullify all the work that went into this, and that was always what pissed us off about when, about the timing of the next iteration. What was it? Battlefield 1 got announced, a couple of months after the second to last DLC batch for 4 came out? Somewhere around that ballpark?
I remember the Battlefield 4, they dropped their last update, big update, content update, like in November or December or something like that, and then then the then Battlefield 1 got announced in May.
Yeah,
and like
it wasn't that long. It was like on the grand scheme of things, it was like a blink of an eye. So that final content only had like maybe 4 or 5 months in order to fester and let it go out in the wild. What I think should have happened is they should have. And I'll go back to it again, and you can even pull the old podcasts up, and I said it then and I say it now. What they should have done was, instead of announcing Battlefield 1, they should have just let that shit cook a little bit longer, because anybody with a brainstem is going to sit here and say that, yes, Battlefield 1 probably should have cooked a little bit longer than what it did, because it did release in a semi-bad state. So, I mean, there could have been, and there were a lot of things that needed to be fixed with that game and needed to be put back in balance.
Correction. It did release in a good state. A lot of casual players just never play Battlefield. It was their first Battlefield game they got interested in. It was in a good state, stable release, but the problem was that there are a lot of hardcore Battlefield players, or just veterans, whatever you want to call them. There was a lot of features that were missing in the game that you expect in a Battlefield game.
Yeah, and they finally started slowly inching those in later. Like I think it was like squad management and shit like that was missing. Was squad management missing in Battlefield 1?
No, it was. No, it was. It was in the game. It was in the game.
It was. There was. God, it was
mostly. It was mostly server stuff, like you can't rent your own server.
Oh, yeah. The rent your own servers weren't there. The server browser wasn't as involved as far as the searches would go. There was
something with the friends list. I can't remember.
It had its problems, and again, it also had its balance issues too. Because you got to remember how much rebalancing that fucking game went through too before it finally got into a stable state.
Oh yeah, you remember Automatico?
Yeah,
yeah, that was quite funny. No, but Battlefield 1 came out in a good state, probably the best release they ever had.
But it still could have cooked for another. It could cook for another 6 months. They could have taken and done since the community map was such a big success with BF4, they could have done another 2 maps. Okay, is all I could realistically say would have been possible to do in that time frame, considering how rapidly they got the community map up and going. Because I think it only took them 6 months from the time they had us vote on things to the time where textures were finally getting put in and everything was being finalized, and we were just doing final testing and making sure that everything tactically was good and sound. There weren't any crazy bugs or anything like that. It wasn't a very long time, so they could have done that with 2 more maps. They could have pulled more community engagement in, okay? And again, them trying to use CTE as an excuse, as a way, and I'm not even going to say as an excuse, as a way in order to sell premium. Looking back on it, I used to shit on that really hard, but now that I look at it, I go, yeah, it kind of makes sense because they don't. And again, this is not saying anything bad against a casual player or anything like that, but the casual player's feedback, it's not that it's less valuable, it's not as knowledgeable. You know what I mean? So, for example,
I can tell you about the Call of Duty player base. Basically the same thing.
Yeah. So, let's say for example, I turn wrenches for a living. There are certain things that even I don't know about. Okay, like if somebody were to ask me how, let's just say how specifically one of the fucking air conditioners work, I can't provide those answers. I can't provide that feedback on the efficiency of this unit compared to others because I just don't fucking know. Okay? Now, that's not saying that I can't look at it objectively and go, yeah, it's okay, it's not okay, it's, and not have a basis of comparison. But that opinion doesn't weigh as heavily as, say, somebody who's worked on those before, who's piddled around with those units before, who's worked across many generations of those units. You guys get what I'm saying? That guy's opinion is more knowledge-based than what mine is, so therefore his opinion should be looked at a little bit closer. And generally, anybody who bought the premium pass was usually the veteran players who wanted access to everything, who was really hardcore, heavily into the communities, and who was managing major platoons, managing major server farms and community events and stuff like that. So they being in charge of a lot of all that and doing a lot of all that, I personally feel, and again, not trying to be elitist or anything, that their opinion on how that game ran, the balance of it and everything, that means more than a lot. That means a lot more than a person who just say, I play 3 hours a week.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of hard. Thing is, I remember we always
say that. It sucks because that means it almost sounds like I'm saying somebody's opinion doesn't mean anything, and that's not what I'm saying. It's a matter of the knowledge base that's backing that opinion. It's like currency. Okay. Currency is only worth as much as what is actually backing it. Now, that's not saying all currency is worthless, because all currency has a worth. If it didn't have a worth, we wouldn't use it as a currency.
The best way to approach this is, being basically a game developer in these days, is especially for AAA shooters in that matter, is really difficult because you need to find a balance between, taking feedback from casual players that play 3 hours a week, even if they even play in the first place.
Who will make up a good chunk of your player base.
Yeah, and then the players that play basically every day for 3-4 hours. I understand you need to find sort of balance, because you can't really balance against for the veteran players, because they're going to destroy all the casual players, and no casual players will want to play. And if you make everything too easy or really easily approachable, suddenly there's no skill gap whatsoever. Everyone's on an equal, footing.
I could just throw out $20 and be an unkillable death machine. Yeah, I mean, there's that too.
Whatever the case may be, yeah. Whatever the case may be.
Here's the other side of the coin in order to think about between the casual and the hardcore and the veteran players. Who do you think is going to be more willing to throw money at your franchise? You think somebody who sits down and plays 3 hours a day or so is going to, unless they got money in order to piss away. I mean, let's be real here. I mean, for the most part, I don't buy DLCs for games that I casually play. Never. I don't feel like I get that return on that investment. That's how I think, and I'm sure a lot of people think like that too. Well, why would I want to buy a $20 DLC for a game I only play 2 or 3 hours a week? Okay. But let's say I play that game for 20 hours or so a week. I'm going to look at that and go, fuck yeah, $50 DLC, sold.
You also have to remember that there's a lot of science behind microtransactions and everything.
Oh yeah.
Usually, yeah, so especially I heard some good stories. When companies make skins for their games, right? It's usually not because of, it's a cool art style, whatever. It's usually for a specific person,
a specific group of people. It's to appeal to people they know that will buy it.
They know what they buy, they know what's their preference, and they make more skins for those people because they know they will spend more money on that.
Yeah, Scopely does it all the fucking time. They just did it with a whole new generation of content. They put out another generation of content with an absurdly grindy economy that is absurdly overpriced as far as everything goes, because they know they have people in that game that literally spend thousands of dollars a month on that fucking game. That's what they made that content for. Let's not kid ourselves. They still chasing whales. They chasing whales way worse than fucking Ahab. But they know what they're catering that content to. The thing is you as the rest of the audience, even if you're like a dolphin all the way down to somebody who doesn't spend any money at all, you're just living it. So find your enjoyment.
Going back on Battlefield, the way Battlefield does microtransactions in Battlefield 2042, I think is the best way to approach it, because you don't have to buy the whole bundle. You don't have to spend more money to get the whole, like, the specific thing you want. If you want a specific thing, you go and get the specific thing.
Yeah, and you're not spending $20 in order to get like 50 other things that you're not, or not 50.
But
there's no way they're giving away 50 items for $20.
But I noticed something the last time I launched the game, so I don't know if they changed it or not. So there was something happening, an event or something like that. I can't remember. There was a bundle came out, right? And I noticed that one particular bundle, I don't know if they changed that. Maybe because the event was happening, so maybe they encouraged people to buy the bundle. But that time I want to get something specific from the bundle, I could not. So that was the first time I'm like, oh, I cannot get the specific thing from the bundle unless I buy the whole bundle.
But guarantee you wait 2 weeks down the road when the price break drops off, I find it again.
I'm kind of sad now that I haven't launched the game before the podcast recording, so I could check. But that was a thing, and I was like, I was not happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, game developers and publishers are notorious for doing that crap all the time. It's what triggers FOMO. They do it. It's purposely baked into the monetization aspect of it. Like, if you don't understand, like, if you don't know how much psychological warfare is being engaged with you when you fire up a live service game, oh boy, look into it. Because the more you're aware of it, the more you can both laugh at it and avoid it. Like, predatory monetization is in every video game that has a live service model. I don't care how respectable the company is. Everybody read the fucking Publisher's Guide to Whale Hunting. Everybody has that playbook in their monetization department, and everybody follows it to a letter to a certain degree. There are some games that don't go full predatory. There are games that just don't care and will take every rule out of that playbook and make it like it's from the fucking Bible. It's been that way.
Right. Do you still have Warzone installed?
Warzone? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, when we're gonna play, launch the game, tell me how many fucking ads you will see for Battle Pass, for bundles and everything before you even launch the game.
I could bet that I will be bombarded with at least 10. I guarantee you. Because Activision can't help themselves.
Yeah, so I'm kind of curious how Microsoft's gonna handle it.
They are like the degenerate teenagers of game development. They always have been. They just can't help themselves. Like, they don't understand that just because we can do a thing does not necessarily follow that we must do a thing. When it comes to Activision, it's like, yeah, we can do a thing, and we're gonna do the thing. YOLO.
Yeah. All right. So basically, going back on the Battlefield stuff. So Season 7 was announced, right?
Yeah.
Good stuff. So probably Season 8 and Season 9 are coming probably. So we're going to have a whole year of content coming up. And the way they announced, they said maps. So this is the first time they'll have minimum 2 maps. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be 2 maps. It's going to be minimum 2 maps in a season. Because every season for the last 2 years, we've been getting, 1 map, each season. And
so it's a drip feed of content for right now.
Yeah. Okay. So also just write your Discord message. Yeah, you can go.
Right up.
Yeah, just let me know when you're back. So basically, they announced that Season 7 is coming. It's gonna be in March, so in 2-3 months, and they announced they're gonna be 2 maps. Well, minimum 2 maps, and they teasing on their announcement thing which locations gonna be which locations will be those maps will feature. So one of the maps was South America, and one of the other pictures they showed on the table for the reel of Season 7, what you wanna call it, was a Christmas video. I'm just it was South America and Middle East. So but that's about the maps. I personally glad they continuing with the seasons, because like I said 4 or 5 months ago, even though I might not enjoy this game to what it is, I still gonna have a lot of problems with the game for the specialists and all that kind of stuff. Maybe certain maps, no matter if they fix them or not, I'm still gonna have a problem with this game. But I did say that 3-4 months ago, they really need to continue updating this game and keep going, because it's in a good state. It would be a really shame to drop all of this progress they did with the game out of the window just for the new game, and we probably will be back on the same problems we had with this game originally when the game launched. And I'm so glad they're actually committing to the game. They're actually going to continue updating the game with new content, new weapons, new battle passes, whatever you want to say, the proper live service game. I'm so glad they're actually committing and going to continue for another year minimum. And a lot of people say like, oh, what happened with 128 player maps? Because I can assure right now, all the maps in the future, all those 2 maps will be 64 player variants and nothing more. Because they announced it like since season 4, I think, when they redesigned Hourglass, when the new map I forgot the name of it, on the map that looked like Zavod. It was also 64 player variant. So all the future maps will be 64 player variants. And also people have to remember that this game is still being supported on PS4 and Xbox One. And that alone is just boggles my mind, that these consoles still have to be supported. And actually that alone kind of just tells us like, oh, they don't have, even though we want the game to be supported for many years, Ray mentioned like he thinks that the game should be supported like for 5 or 4 years, whatever. But I have a feeling they don't have the capacity to support the game for that long, just because the old-gen consoles don't have the memory or the capacity to support the game for that long. Because, yeah, when the game originally came out, and, it wasn't a lot of maps, it wasn't a lot of content, but now when you think about it, after 6 seasons, 6 maps, and there's 2 more minimum comes, so 8 maps, so with... the game came out, with 11 or 10? I can't remember how many maps it came out with. But anyway, we're going to cross the 20th, our 20th player map. Go away. My cat is in the way. We're going to have about 20 maps when the new season starts. Season 7 will start. And that's a lot of maps. And it's not just simple, small maps we're talking about. We're talking about, like, huge maps that are running on the Xbox One and the PS4, and that's a lot of memory they need to, find to run these maps, to run this game on a decent, performance. And I just, for example, the Hourglass remake, that map was basically, they could not add the stadium into the map because the way it was built into the game, and it cost too much memory to include that stadium in the middle of the map and to be in a playable area. And that's more than, clear that has something to do with the PS4 and the Xbox One consoles, because PC and here's the thing, developers will always find a way to maximize the memory as much as possible, but it's just one of those things that you kind of have to consider that those consoles still being supported, and that's why you're not going to get 128 players or anything big with the game. So the game being supported for another year, 2042 with the old gen consoles in mind, yeah, I think that sounds about right. I think that's kind of, I don't think they can do much more regarding support, because I don't think it's realistic.
In a way, you kind of just like inadvertently pointed out why in some cases it takes forever for PC ports to happen, because they have to optimize for so much shit. Pretty much. Yeah. Just think about how many different hardware configurations exist for PC, and then think about how many different hardware configurations exist for console. You're comparing, potentially hundreds of thousands of hardware permutations that need to be optimized and accounted for, versus 2, 3, 4. Yeah. It's easier to do, and the hardware developers give you the development kit to hack the shit out of the hardware to get it to do what you need in order to do. Like, anybody knows, like, the development of Metal Gear Solid 4 and, like, why that game was hailed as such a technical masterpiece. It's not just because, it's a Hideo Kojima game. It's because Hideo Kojima's development team, like, hacked the living shit out of the PS4 or the PS3 to get it to render like that, to get it to have all of that memory, to get it to do the shit that, like, that game pushed that console to, like, its utmost limits. So, yeah, good job, Tom. Good job. Hopefully people learn.
Yeah. So, Yeah, I agree with you that it would be nice if the game will be supported for another 3-4 years.
For about a minute there, and I can do that. I could, but I'm horrible at filling dead space. But yeah, you guys.
No, sorry. I was talking. I just muted myself by accident because my hotkeys on a really weird.
God.
Anyway, as I was saying, I agree with you that the game it would be nice if the game would be supported for another 3-4 years, but I don't think they have the capacity because of the old gen consoles. You know, it's they don't have unlimited space.
They would have to
memory.
do like what Battlefield 4 did at some point and say we can't do this for PlayStation 3 and Xbox anymore, or and Xbox 360 anymore, and they kind of did. But they still got content out. Like, they still put all the map packs and everything out. But, like, community testing map made its way to PlayStation 3 and everything. So, like, all the maps made it. But they were so dumbed down and watered down at that point. Like, if you looked at a Final Stand map on PS3 and then looked at it on PC on a full hardware setup, it's a huge night and day difference. Like, you can tell they had to gut the hell out of that map in order to get it to work. So
Yeah.
And again, this is not knocking people who are on older generations of hardware. I mean, times are tough, economy sucks. Sometimes you ain't got $500-600 in order to drop on a console. I get it. I don't have $2,000 right now to replace my computer. But my computer lasted me 10 years. So anyway, you do that math how you want. Anyway,
as I mentioned, 128 players is not coming back because all the maps are going to be 64-player maps. And I don't know if you were here when I mentioned that they showed 2 pictures of continents on the Season 7 reveal video, Christmas video, whatever you want to call it. So it was South America and Middle East, more like Saudi Arabia, Middle East, right? And let's realistically think, what kind of 64-player maps might be coming? I have a list here of Battlefield maps that featured all around the world. So basically, someone made a map, right? That guy basically marked in which places Battlefield took place in the world, right?
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, someone actually made that, which is quite funny.
Oh my God, congratulations, fellow nerd.
Yeah, so realistically, 64-player maps. Those 2 maps will be 64 players. That's a given. But what realistically we expect from those 2 maps? From South America and Middle East, in your opinion?
South America, I can imagine, would probably be like another jungle map.
Right?
Because everybody loves the jungle maps until you have a jungle map, and then everybody hates the jungle map. So
didn't we say like about 4, 5, 6 months ago that the map, not even, maybe even more, that the Battlefield 2042 does need a jungle map?
Yeah.
Didn't we say that?
But it kind of doesn't. I mean, it kind of has one. That map that it was like a concrete, it had a bunker and everything to it. But that map that we played that stupid bot mode on, that I could say that's kind of like a jungle map, but it's not really a jungle map because you can't really do guerrilla warfare on that map. That's what makes a jungle map is being able to like perform actual guerrilla warfare where you like hide with a shotgun and close-range CQB equipment and just wait for an enemy to come to you and surprise blast with a high DPR or a high DPS, high rate of fire weapon, and you get your kills, and then you stick and move. I like that kind of shit. Where you just start stabbing. I like that stuff too. That's why I love the community map so much. That's why I liked the one jungle map on Battlefield 1 that everybody hated, because I owned face on that map.
Do you want to? Okay, so do you know which games? Which? Yeah, I'll say games just because to make you guess. Which game featured in South America? Which Battlefield game?
South America.
In your opinion, game or games?
Well, I mean, I could say the community map was in South America because again, it was a jungle area with like a Mayan-looking temple outside. But
nope, not South America.
That's not South. Yeah. Man, shit.
We recently talked about.
Not Bad Company. Yeah, Bad Company.
Only Bad Company 2. Only Bad Company 2.
Yeah, and then everybody loved it, and then we were like, here's Vietnam, and we're going to make it better. And everyone was like, oh, shit.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
man, good call out on that one.
I personally predict now. I might as well do so. Let's do our predictions now. Might as well. Let's do predictions. I have a feeling it's gonna be a Bad Company 2 map, and because the servers are shutting down, they knew the servers are being shut down.
Here's our homage to Bad Company 2.
Yeah,
may it rest in bits.
Yeah, I think he might be one of the remakes, 64-player remake on Bad Company 2, some sort of map.
Could you imagine how much the community would shit their pants if they took like one of the most popular maps from Bad Company 2, which I couldn't even think what the hell that is because I just didn't get that. I don't remember.
Well, Bad Company 2 maps already in 2042 Portal anyway, and some of them already in rotation in the normal game.
Right, but so watch what they'll do, like what they did with Caspian, and they'll just expand it and make it bigger.
Fine.
And balance it out for the player count, make it look like it's gone through a test of time, and call it a revisit.
Bad Company 2 never had 64-player servers, right?
No, I don't know. Fuck no. I think they maxed out at 32.
Yeah, 32 was maximum.
Because they were second gen, they were third gen console game, or third gen 2000s console era. They were like PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3. No, PlayStation 3, because PlayStation 3 had the online infrastructure. Anyway, I'm digressing.
And guess how many games featured in Middle East? Saudi Arabia or Iran, Turkey,
damn near the whole COD franchise at the fucking time, because that was the thing because of the fucking Iraq war.
Yeah, but Battlefield games.
Oh, Battlefield games. I mean, we had a little bit of Middle Eastern presence in 3. Had a little bit of 1 in 4. Had a little bit of 1 in. No, that was China. That was Battlefield 2 Modern Combat that I played on Xbox. No, that did have a Middle Eastern map or two. It had an oil field.
So majority of the maps
touched on them just a hair, yeah.
Okay, so majority of the maps that featured in Middle East from Battlefield games, Battlefield 3 and 2.
Dude, I'm thinking Firestorm's coming back.
And some 4 maps for Battlefield 4. Some.
Firestorm will be one of them.
And maybe 2 maps in Battlefield 1.
I really want them to bring back Shanghai and make it better. But I really do. Siege of Shanghai was such a fun map. Like I
have a feeling, realistically, if they're doing remakes, I don't think they are doing remakes. I really don't think they're gonna do remakes. But if they're doing remakes, it's gonna be Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3 map, some sort of. That's if they're doing remakes.
Oh, fucking
so and they are they're already in Portal, and you can basically put them in the rotation. That's if they're doing remakes. If they're not doing remakes and it's original brand new maps, sure, we don't know what they're gonna do. God knows, right? God knows.
The smart thing, since their whole thing is paying homage to the past, would be to take 2 maps and kind of merge them together in a way that it looks like a new map, but the player can still recognize things if they used to play that game. Do you get what I mean? Like, you could take, theoretically, and this is like stupidly trying to, in a stupid way, you could almost in a way take Siege, or even, let's say, let me try and think map layouts real quick. So you could probably take something like one of the China Rising maps, that had a really huge coastline to it, and in a way stuff Lost Islands out a little bit way more and put some flags on there. So now you have a mainland area where a lot of fighting can happen, and you have a couple of island areas or a good handful of island areas where some fighting can happen with some naval combat and a huge airspace for, giant for dogfighting and bombing runs and stuff like that. But you could make it in a way so that when you go to the part that's supposed to pay homage to, like, let's say Lost Islands, you could look at it and go, "Oh wow, this is fucking Lost Islands." And then when you go to the coastline, you'd be like, "Oh wow, we're at this map." And you get what I mean? If they would do that, that would be smart.
You know what's funny?
That would be great.
You know what's funny? Call of Duty is doing that. They allow their maps. For example, any Warzone map had some sort of homage to the multiplayer maps. So, for example, this new Warzone map that we're playing right now has homage to couple of Modern Warfare 2 maps and a couple of maps to recent Modern Warfare games. That's what they do. They usually take a piece of the map, right? It's not carbon copy like people like to think.
No, it's just similar enough so that your brain can put the math together.
Yeah, you
and
see
can
the
go,
layout.
"Oh wow."
just a couple of days ago, I was playing Warzone, right? And I just see like, wait, this layout is really familiar. Then I realized it clicked with me. This is the map from Modern Warfare 2.19. So that Battlefield, that's what Call of Duty has been doing. And I would actually like to see if Battlefield, developers take, let's say, Shanghai, right? Seeds of Shanghai, but it's not Shanghai, it's something else, but the layout is the same, basically, and of
well,
course
it's close enough
whatever.
so that if you look at it closely, you could see that it's you could have certain elements from Siege that make it feel similar, like the big tower in the middle that you can collapse and everybody can fight over.
It's just
you can have it start from one end of
else.
the city, and you have the giant coastline up the side. But at the same time, you could have a couple of oil tankers off the coastline that people can fight over. That maybe like one or two has a flag, and et cetera, et cetera. So again, that opens up for more naval combat and aerial combat, and helicopter combat. You could expand the city just a little bit more, and open up the urban warfare area, and like open the buildings up some too, so players could actually go in the levels and get some verticality to it instead of just being on the fucking roof or on the ground level. That would be a great map that people would bitch about.
Just because the layout is the same doesn't mean the map can be different.
Yeah, it can't have its charm. It can't have its own charms.
Yeah, exactly. Call of Duty developers already doing it, so why not? Also, if it's the last year
fucking
of
Rockstar does
drop,
it all the time.
Yeah, true.
They're doing that shit with GTA 6. Like, don't think for a goddamn second there's not going to be parts of fucking Vice City that you're going to walk down and be like, yep, this is from the original Vice City. Because
they already did it. Someone already did the comparisons.
The whole strip.
There's already pictures. Yeah,
it's fucking identical.
Yeah, it's just improved. So I see no reason why they couldn't do that. But okay, realistically, we both agree that one of the maps will be a jungle map, right?
Have to be. Has to be.
We agree on that. That the next, whatever the other two maps will be, one of them will be a jungle map.
You could even,
for sure.
I just thought of this. I literally just thought of this out of thin air. You could even have a mechanic put in for a jungle map. Okay, excuse me. Where, like much in real life, tanks don't necessarily just easily push trees down. They can, but it takes time and it can potentially damage the tank. So what the military has is a machine. Or we made one in Vietnam for this. You just destroy the trees. And I know some like environmentalists are losing their shit, but like think of this from a gameplay perspective. Like you can't really move armor unless you clear the foliage away. So you have to cover this machine to do its job, so you can get armor to points. That'd be an annoying addition. People would bitch about it, but it would make it more interesting for a jungle map. Nobody's ever done that.
Yeah, but you know what? They're not gonna do that because again, you still have to build a game on foundation of Battlefield 2042, and again, the foundation is there. The mechanics are there. I don't think they can do much. So it's gonna be somewhat a generic basic map with limited destruction.
And trees just fall over when you look at them.
Yeah. Or there's not going to be enough trees because the game can't handle it anymore.
Oh yeah, true.
You know,
they'll pack it full of pink textured bushes.
Yeah, so something like that. It's lettuce. It's a lettuce. You know, it's not a tree. It's a lettuce.
Yeah.
Or something crap. I don't know if you remember those good old days when Battlefield 2042 came out and people were comparing. Is that a lettuce or a tree? God fucking knows.
It's foliage.
But okay. With the maps, we don't know anything because we just know that probably one of them is going to be a jungle map. If it's not a jungle map, okay, fuck us, all right? It's just
take
a
our
fun prediction.
take our opinions at nothing but face value. We're just dumbasses.
Yeah, it's a fun prediction.
It is. It's really fun in order to predict and joke around with because we've made these jokes and they've happened before.
Yeah, true. Regarding anything else Battlefield 2042 related, what would you like to see in the future seasons?
Man, you know what? I really
you would think that would be realistic that they could actually change or add.
It's kind of hard for me in order to say that because, like, again, I haven't sank as much time into it recently, so I don't really have like a really huge base opinion on where the game's at right now, other than the fact that it's a first-person shooter. It runs pretty decently when it wants to run on my computer, and it tries to cook my computer. Now that being said, I really think it needs since they're cutting back the player count, they kind of need to scale back some of the older maps, like the bigger maps. If they've done that already, and then I mean kudos, then everybody can just tell me to shut the hell up.
They basically done it.
So I'll shut the hell up on that point. The other thing I really want them to see them do is like actually, pay homage to where they came from. There are so many good maps that are in the old catalogs that really really truly do deserve like to be brought into 2042 because they will fit beautifully because of like some of their size. A couple of the Final Stand maps are coming to mind right now. I really wish they would bring those back. What was it? Whiteout? Yeah, Whiteout. Whiteout was a fucking fun map. The one with the hangar 50, hangar whatever. Have it so that you could actually like it's 2042 now. Let's launch the damn thing. Can we do that? Can we do that? Have a team be able to do that. And it's the prototype. It fucking works. And now it's a flag. But it has ridiculous amounts of hull hit points, so you could stay there on the ground with tanks and jets and shoot at it, and you could maybe eventually bring it down. Can we do that? I want that. Can we have that?
Imagine the last season for Battlefield 2022.
They finally put the mechs and shit in.
It's called Final Stand Electric Boogaloo or some shit, It's like Final Stand 2.
Final Stand 2 Electric Boogaloo. Coming soon to Battlefield 2042.
If that happens, I will fucking laugh my ass off.
I would too. I would die. I would just die. I would die externally and die inside at the same time. But no, if I'm for real. This game is supposed to be a continuation of 4. Let's stop beating around the bush and stop kidding ourselves. It's the next one in line after Battlefield 4. Fucking Irish being in it is enough confirmation alone. Let's actually, let's do it. It just looks like the ground, the infantry tech just got better. That was it, and nothing else did. Can we get our mechs? I want walkers. Can we have the Titans now? Can we do that? And I don't mean the Titans from Titanfall because that's a different story. Fuck you, Apex, bitch.
They can technically add a new vehicle. It's literally can be a walker. Technically, they could that. Technically, you could do it.
It could be done.
Game.
Like I wish they would do it. The problem is, I think, and I know what the excuse that they're going to fall back on for the reason why they can't do it. It takes too much to implement. It takes too long to animate, and it's hard to balance. And you know what? But you leave them in that arena. You don't let them go anywhere else. You balance them for that map. Like, you could have pickup weapons that could counter them, EMP guns that just fire a hard burst and could knock out a walker, but it takes forever to recharge. It gives a playing field for the Rorsch, since that thing can do some serious damage.
I don't think you have to go that extreme, with the different stuff. It could be literally just a tank that walks. That's it,
Yeah, I mean, it could be coded like a tank and it just walks.
Yeah, it can be coded as a tank.
Yeah, it could be in it maybe.
Yeah, it can be coded as a tank, it just walks, animation is different, Granted, you probably need to, code it to go,
think about it, you're absolutely right. Most walker games, think about it, you've played MechWarrior before.
Yeah.
The movement is pretty much like a goddamn tank, so yeah, you're absolutely right. Just animate a pair of goddamn legs where the treads are supposed to be, and there you go. Yeah. It doesn't have to be new. It doesn't need a new control scheme or anything like that. I mean, you can just work right off of the tanks and just put it under that it's a tank. Make that be the tank for the map then, I guess. Or still have tanks and just that's a thing. You have to, if you take over the facility that houses the Titan, the team that launches the Titan gets 4 mechs, and when they're destroyed, they're destroyed. That's it. That's your bag.
See, I don't want any more game modes, but literally they give some sort of vehicles or advantage to the enemy players or friendly players.
But that's the thing, it wouldn't even be a new game mode, it would just be Conquest.
Sure.
It would just be a thing that exists in Conquest. Like, you as the team could take the facility, okay, which is a flag, and then launch the Titan, which can be a flag in of itself, and the other team has one of 2 options. You can either fly your ass up there and take the damn thing, and it's a flag, or you destroy it, and it's no longer a flag on the board. It's just a dynamic flag. That's it.
Realistically, I hope they will add Titan mode, because that would be quite something for the game.
I would totally fucking bust my ass in order to get a new PC in order to be able to play that. I would do it in a heartbeat.
If they add a Titan mode, like a proper one, I'm all for it. Heck, you can copy paste. Well, copy paste, not that easy, but the bloody not Conquest Assault, whatever it was called in Battlefront, basically Conquest.
I know exactly. The one where you were on the ground and then you could go up into space. Yeah. I fucking
Galactic
loved that
Conquest,
mode.
thank you. Here we go, Galactic Conquest.
That's it, yes. I fucking loved that mode.
So you basically use that, and we're okay. It's not the proper Titan mode from Battlefield 2042. I get it.
Yeah, because
but
the ground
it's still a
troops
nice
can't
compromise.
You just get sucked up to the ship, and that's what I kind of hated about it. I kind of wish
it's
there
a
was
nice
a mechanic in
compromise,
Battlefront where the people who were on the ground could opt to stay on the ground and shoot at the goddamn thing from the ground. Like there would be cannons there that you could use. That would have been badass. It would have been like Eve.
Much.
Yeah, actually.
Now I'm thinking. Yes, please, just use the base code that you already created for Battlefront. Just use it for. People will bitch. It's not the same Titan mode, but I don't care.
I would lose my mind over it, and so would a lot of the veterans, because I think that's what we've kind of like deep down inside. I feel like that was that because like Final Stand, like let's go back to when Final Stand came out. Okay, like. Everybody, like, you remember how we all thought we were like, oh my god, they're finally going to do like an actual, like, a 2046, and it's going or 22 or 2146, 2142. I'm sorry, my numbers are all over the fucking place. But you remember we thought that's what was going to happen next. Like we were like, fuck, they're going to evolve. They're going to go forward. This is great. And then Battlefield 1 came out, and I think that's one of the reasons why the community was like so soured for Battlefield 1 is because the expectation bar that was set just was completely ignored up until now here at 2042. So let's do that. Come on, fulfill that. That would make so many of us who kind of have that little burn from Battlefield 1, that would make us feel so much better. I would be healed from that little burn if that were to actually happen. Make Titan mode in 2042. Fucking do it.
Not to mention, you can apply the same mode to already existing maps. If it functions like Conquest and you just basically teleport to or whatever to a Titan as match progresses, basically you can just apply the same maps on this new game mode, which they've been doing with other game modes.
Yeah, they have.
Which they already did.
Here's another one for you. Okay, now you think back to what I just said about using Hangar 51, Hangar 52. Is that what it was? Hangar.
Yeah.
Anyway, where the mechanic is if you take the facility, you get to launch the Titan. Okay, you have the base coding right there. If team take thing launch, okay, you could take that and also apply it to conquest maps. But you just designate what flag is the flag that would be like a control point for the Titan. It was a thing that was already done with armaments for Commander in Battlefield 4.
Yeah, true. They did that.
Definitely do that. Do that because you could do that. Okay, well, now you have an incentive in order to keep the enemy off of this flag or heavily fight over this flag. And the best part would be, the ironic thing would be they'd probably take the easy route and make it be the centermost flag so that everybody's trying to converge and it makes the lines a little bit more, clear as to where the fighting needs to happen. You would be directing the flow of fighting a little bit more. And a lot of their maps are centric designed anyway. So do that. And you could apply that Titan mode to every map that you already have.
Oh, imagine on Nasha canals. Oh
my god, never mind. And we technically already had a Titan in the first place. The fucking blimp from Battlefield 1.
Yeah, technically. Yeah, but making a blimp in this
Zeppelin
game would be a complete undertaking. But as a visual thing in the background, I see no problem with that, honestly. I think they could do that. As maybe not an active participant in the game, but because if it just teleports you from Titan to Titan, depending on the match, like in Battlefront 2, I see no problem why they can do visual update, just Titan in the background somewhere in the distance.
Yeah.
Two Titans in the air, right? Just you can't interact with them, but they're there.
Till a certain point where you take flag and then hi. Yeah, totally. I would even just thinking about the whole thing where I just mentioned about the Zeppelin from Battlefield 1. You can make the Titan behave exactly like that, but it's a flag, and both teams could have one too. There's no reason not.
I think the reason why the way we imagine Titans to be huge and everything, I don't think it just will be realistic.
Well, no, I mean, I don't think, like, at this point in the timeline, I don't think Titans would be, like, that big lumbering thing like they have in the 21s. You got to think prototypes start small and get big from there. Like, I would think it would be, like everybody's thinking it would be like the size of the helicarrier from the fucking Avengers. I'm thinking slightly smaller. I'm thinking more along the lines of, like, not aircraft carrier size, but, like, interceptor battleship class size. That just flies, okay? And it's just, It would work for troop transport and, like, maybe have the ability to carry, like, a tank or two that it could airdrop just straight down from below on parachutes. That's it. You could load the thing up with that. You could do that, use it as a vehicle spawn too while you're at it. It just drops. You just got to pay attention to where you're dropping out, pal. Because if you spawn in a vehicle off that Titan, it's just going to drop you.
Okay.
That would be fun.
Yeah, that would be fucking fun.
You can't pilot it.
I need to go.
Oh.
So,
all right.
Yeah, I know. As soon as the conversation started, like, for example, I want to talk about my fears about Battlefield 22 being actually good and the new game is being announced, but I'll leave it for the next conversation topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I do hope they're gonna add Titan mode. That would be such a good thing.
It would be a great Christmas present, but I doubt they'd do it this quickly.
Yeah.
Just tell us you're gonna do it.
Yeah, pretty much. But we'll see. The new season starts in March, so in 2 months.
Alrighty. Well, that having been said, I think we need to cap this off. I'll do the outro.
I'll leave the outro too. Yeah, I'll do.
Thank you guys very much for listening up to this point. If you have, feel free to like and subscribe anywhere, which way you're catching us, be it Spotify, YouTube. If you're interested in more content, our Patreon is open for business. You're more than welcome in order to happily come over and subscribe. There's plenty of extra content there. I don't know how much Tom charges, but I'm sure it's worth it.
$6 a month for all up episodes.
Oh,
and
backlog. For $6 a month, you get unfeathered, all access behind the scenes content of these two nut jobs. So think about it. It's a good investment.
Not even behind the scenes. You get LG extra episodes where we talk about everything.
Oh yeah, uncensored too, where we're not as restrained as what we have to be now with family-friendly YouTube, where I can only say the F word every so many minutes or so many times. Bastards. But I can say that.
Pretty much.
At any rate, I have been Ray.
Thank you guys for... Oh, yeah, blah, 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 blah.
With my jabber-jawed friend here, Tom. As always, Thank you guys.
We'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you for supporting us, and see you on the battlefield.